Creating polished tech reviews has never been easier, all thanks to MiniMax Audio.
But MiniMax isn't just for tech reviews. My online courses have become more engaging, consistent, and effortless to produce.
And as an ASMR artist, MiniMax Audio helps me effortlessly create authentic, soothing experiences that keep my viewers returning.
For those moments when inspiration matters most, MiniMax Audio ensures my motivational messages feel powerful, authentic, and deeply impactful.
Traveling globally, MiniMax Audio effortlessly translates my adventures, connecting me instantly with audiences worldwide.
Even audiobook production becomes quick, professional, and stress-free, thanks to MiniMax Audio saving me countless hours of work.
Well, let's just dive right in. You can see over here, if you go to technology and you see the speech. So we go on speech. Biggest thing about MiniMax, why it is different, is because it is free. You don't have to actually have any kind of payment subscription as opposed to ElevenLabs. Also, in the free, you can get up to 4,000 credits. The videos you just now saw were all created using MiniMax, the audio part of it specifically. Now, if you go to the voices, you can actually clone your voice and then they basically create impression of your voice. It's basically making its own voice based on whatever input that you get. Now, that is obviously great and everything, but you also saw, as we saw in the initial video, there are also specific intonations. So you can have, like, if we go back and let's say select the Aussie, which we already have selected. If you were to have, even in the free trial, you can actually give different emotions. What does that mean? So you can have happy, sad, angry, disgusted, surprised, and neutral. Here you can actually fine tune it. Also, if you go into voice modifiers, you see I already have 3 of the 6. So you have a total of 6 in the free trial that you can use, but I have a total of 3 left. So the voice modifier is essentially how you can use your voice, whether you want to deepen the voice, and you will automatically see, you can click on top.
G'day, mate. The gentle waves meets
has become. So it just deepens the voice a bit more. You can always test it out before you click on regenerate. So that is how you can actually, so if you want to deepen the voice, if you want to make the voice more softer, these finer granular details were not something that I had seen in ElevenLabs specifically. Directly for the consumer level, I feel like this has a lot more bang for your buck, especially if you want to be creating content on a large scale volume. Also, the emotion handling here is much better. But let's say I'm going to use the same voice that we have here. But over here, if you want to see, I will actually change the tone of the voice with the different emotions. So let's say I want to make it more fearful. But now, instead of just being a neutral voice, what's going to happen is it should give us a more voice. Also, another thing to note is when you see these, you can actually change the speed, how fast you want the voice to be speaking, the pitch, whether you want to have a more masculine pitch or a more feminine pitch. You can pitch it accordingly. And the volume. I would recommend to have the volume at least 2, unless you want to work on it later on post, then it's fine. But that's what you should do. And then what you could do is you could just generate speech. Already you can see, so as I mentioned earlier, you can see that and you can hear directly. It may not be as evident, but it is quite fearful. I'm going to use the same exact prompt and I'm actually going to make it disgusting. But before then, if we see over the bills, the really nice thing about MiniMax Audio is that you can actually see how much of a credit you're using per audio generation. Most of the applications can show that, but here you literally don't have to go anywhere else to check that. So if you're really conscientious about what you're doing and how you are spending your credits, you can also make that note in your mind. It's basically 120 to 140. Another thing I want to definitely mention, on the top over here, you see that there is a model. We have a 1 HD and a 01 Turbo. If you wanted to really work on something cheaper, but also give out more, because the 4,000 credits gives you approximately around 5 minutes of audio. So you could get roughly around 5 minutes of audio. That's 4,000 daily credits. So every day you can basically, if within 3 days, you could basically make like a 15-minute kind of a video. If you're ever thinking of like a faceless YouTube channel, just a food for thought. So here, if you see, if we go back to here on the text to image, text to speech, and if we go to turbo, it's going to make it 40% cheaper. And now, since the trial has run, now you will have to upgrade in order to use the emotions. So the emotion automatically changes into auto. So then if we wanted to make something a bit more over here, then I'm just going to use this phrase, and you can actually use a total of up to 5,296 characters if you're using the O1 Turbo. And if you're using the O1 HD, you're using 3,178 characters. So it's quite a lot of words. You can actually use that. So I'm going to use this and see how many credits we're going to burn. But mind you, all of this, you can do it completely for free. There is no catch. There is no subscription. And in fact, even the subscription is industry standard low, which is $5 a month, is great for 100,000 credits. That's just insane amount of credits I can get. Essentially, you can make a 2-hour audio generation. Also, the voice, you can get up to 16 languages in multiple accents. For example, if we go back over here, speaking of accents, and if we see here, you can literally listen.
I believe that hard work and honesty.
You see, that actually sounds like an Indian person. So there is multiple different versions for support. Now they have up to English. They also have for different languages. So if you click over here, you can see all the different languages that are going to pop up over here. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to change our voice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the accent, and now you can see all the different voices. This is the voice, which is an ASMR voice. So that I haven't seen something like this in the ElevenLabs. It's specifically tailored for if somebody wants to create a faceless ASMR channel without actually showing that face. This could be an idea for that. So you can see there are different kinds of voices.
I prefer to keep to myself most of the time. We need to approach this.
Hey there, it's always great to meet you.
With voice service. So this one, I'm going to use this specific voice. So it says it's it's adult, and it is a female English. So I'm going to use this one, and we go back to text. Again, you can see that the volume is there, the pitch. Now, let's say I still have 3 more, so I can show you exactly what it means to deepen or lighten. I would like to lighten the voice a little bit, so maybe plus 22. And then I'm also going to make it softer, so probably like plus 6. And the nasal, so how much, this is really nice. So how crisp the voice is, or how much it is like coming from the nose. I like that kind of distinction that they're giving, nasal versus crisp. Let's say I'm going to put it at plus 8, spacious echo. So if you're in kind of an echo situation, and then you can see that this is under the turbo, and I can basically have 5,296. I'm going to generate this. The minute you do that, it's actually going to live show us the expense of that specific credit.
Features advanced emotional customization, laughing, whispering, excitement, sadness, enhancing realistic output. ElevenLabs.
You see that? So now, the minute you used all of these parameters, just think of it like any kind of a tool. You're just like fine-tuning it. So I basically used spacious audio, and she almost sounds like she's in a spacious room and she's speaking loudly. So that is what makes MiniMax really powerful. Now, we haven't even spoken about the most interesting thing, which would be giving us the access to free cloning of your voice. So you can do up to 3 in a free tier. And how you would do that, once you go to the voices, you can see right on the top, they actually have the create your voice. And when you do that, you click here, you can see they have a bunch of information here. And you can see they have either you can drop a file, so you can drop an existing file of an audio, or you can record up to 60 seconds long. So that's all they need. That's also something that's really nice. And it also says, please upload a clean voice recording in a quiet environment. And then you give a name and a language selection so that it can work in that way. Once you do that, then it processes and it converts. This also takes credit, mind you. This also will take up credit when you're adding. So you do need to keep that in mind. And then when you go to My Voices, you're going to be able to see the clone. I mentioned it as my name clone. And let's say if I were to select my voice, and if I were to say something that I did not say, I'm going to probably just like use one of the features of MiniMax. And I'm going to make my voice clone just speak it out. And now I'm going to actually use the enhanced audio quality with superior cloning accuracy, the O1 HD. We generate it with no modifications. The minute you put any changes, instantly clone. Now you see that's exactly something I did not speak, but that is a voice of mine. So if you ever wanted to create something for any kind of situation, maybe it's a podcast or something, you can actually use this. There is a plethora of different areas that you can use this for. But the minute you also change it, you can notice on the top it says as modified, and that is when it actually shows the modification happening. I did not do any modification, so it's not going to show the modification here. And you can also see if you're under the trial or if you're the free trial, you can see how many trials you have left. Since I've already used up most of it, I have only one left. And in the emotion one, I have none of them left. So then you basically cannot use any of the emotions. The emotion section. But this is something that is really powerful in my opinion, because it is able to express genuine emotions and also able to express 10 million characters in one go. Perfect for audiobooks, podcasts, and long form videos. But it's also really good synthesizing. And the last thing which I wanted to also mention is the voice isolator, which is the ability to isolate noise and basically take out the speech audio, kind of like the podcast.adobe.com that does that. In essence, MiniMax Audio is really a true bang for your buck in an era where every AI has a subscription model behind everything and all the good stuff is behind that. MiniMax Audio clearly does not have any of those restrictions. As you have seen with some of these examples, you can go through so many things, even in the free tier. With that being said, you should definitely give a try on MiniMax. It is completely free, MiniMax Audio, a total value for your money. And if you do check it out, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. I would also like to know. And I'm also going to put the link to this one in the description so you can also check it out for yourself. This, mind you, is not the MiniMax that is the MiniMax video. That is a separate thing. This is just the audio, the speech. I'm going to be doing a video about ElevenLabs and MiniMax soon, so you can also check that out. But in the meantime, you can also check out this video over here because YouTube thinks this might be a video that you might like. You can also check out this video over here because this was my last upload. Until the next one, I'm going to